Welcome back to Couture Construction. I'm your host, Andrew Denny, and you're listening to Season 12, The Long Game. This season, we're asking what endures. In design and construction, the work that lasts isn't fast, it isn't disposable, and it isn't built on shortcuts. The best spaces, the best careers, the best reputations are built the way a great home is built. Slowly, intentionally, and with a clear sense of what matters. Today's guest understands this better than almost anyone. Rebecca Gardner is the founder and creative director of Houses and Parties, a full-service events, interior design, and retail collective based in Savannah, Georgia. She has been named a top event designer by Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, and her work has been published in the Wall Street Journal, Architectural Digest, T Magazine, Elle Decor, Town & Country, and the Financial Times. Her online shop offers what she calls unnecessaries for devotees of the elegant and unusual. And if that sentence doesn't tell you everything you need to know about Rebecca Gardner, nothing will. Her first book, A Screaming Blast, was released by Rizzoli. Rebecca is someone who designs from memory, not for the photograph, not for the algorithm, for the long game. Rebecca, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a guest with us today. I've got to tell you, your kind of tagline to me is one of the best sentences I've ever read. And I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Are you a shopper of unnecessary things, Andrew?
Every day. It's what drives me. So
yeah. Good. Well, I'm so glad to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about who's Rebecca outside of what you do.
Oh gosh, that is hard to separate. I am originally from South Texas. I now live between Savannah and New York City. And I run this 3-ring circus, which is event design, interior design, and an online shop. And so much of my work comes from what I really love to do, which is cooking at home and gathering friends. And I'm an insane planner. Like Post-it notes are my paintbrush. And so I like to create environments, be it for my friends or for my clients. So to separate the two is difficult, Andrew, but I think that's why my work is personal.
That's awesome. That's very, very cool. So between Savannah and New York City, you have a unique perspective, kind of old South and old East Coast. Tell me about just kind of what that juxtaposition is in life.
Oh, it's great. I get the best of both worlds. It's so easy to travel from Savannah to New York. It's just a little over an hour. And so New York is where I'm inspired and where I work and where I meet people and where I build my business. And Savannah is where I enjoy it.
Oh, how fun.
It's nice to have square feet and space and green and azaleas and Savannah is the 13th oldest city in the United States, and it's planned on a grid. Not unlike New York, but in the middle of our grids are a park, and in the middle of every single one. So it's one big park, and it's really, really beautiful. And the pace is slow, and it's a coastal city, so you get to enjoy Tybee Island. And we were just talking about Charleston earlier. It is not as swishy or polished as Charleston, but we do have SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, downtown, which keeps us, thinking ahead and youthful and avant-garde. But New York is a great juxtaposition to that, and really where my business is.
Yeah, SCAD is about as good as it gets, and that is a treasure of Georgia in general. I mean, they have a beautiful campus also in Atlanta, and the outpost there, and the talent that comes through that. I think that's a great way to look at it. The youthful perspective, the avant-garde. Yeah, that's really, really cool. What a great resource to have in your backyard. So you are very unique in the sense that you do events in interior design. So let's Talk to me about your philosophy with that. We cross paths because of the flower show house in Nashville. And for those that didn't get to see Rebecca's work, it was like the most whimsical, cool, I mean, just a really awesome, fun and memorable environment that you created. So just kind of walk through how you do creation.
Well, primarily, or starting out, I did interior design, and I've always loved parties. Like I said earlier, that's something that I enjoy doing, is entertaining and creating a little world. One night only has a certain sort of ring that allows you to be a little bit wilder than you normally would in a permanent interior design space. But I do think in this day and age of going above and beyond and investing heavily in our personal spaces, it's really a shame not to share that effort with the people that you love. And then I think that if we don't make an effort to mark occasions, be it a birthday or a wedding or the fact that all the iris in your garden are in bloom, I think if you don't mark occasions, your life is sort of oatmeal. And there's nothing worse than beige oatmeal to me. So when you think about a calendar, I want my Google calendar to be full. I always have hot pink for something that I'm looking forward to, something that's social, something that requires dressing up, and everything else is in green. And I want way more hot pink than green on my calendar. So I think that I think you'll agree with me that, we want all of our clients and certainly we personally enjoy having environments that are comfortable and that are beautiful and that excite us when we walk in the door every single day that we go home. You also want places that you can enjoy when you gather, because there's nothing more intimate or effective than entertaining at your home. And parties can certainly be tender, and parties can be for family, like Christmas Eve, but parties are also power. You can make a lot of things happen at a party, and to invite someone into your home, and a home that makes that person feel comfortable and flattering light and yummy sofas and whatever the floor plan is, allows you to create magic and to make whatever your goal is can happen. I think you can bippity boppity boo all over
love it.
Land house.
Absolutely love it. So how do you, in the process, the wit and whimsy of your design, how do you draw that out of people? Is it just you're magnetic. So pulling that out of some people, I can imagine would be a challenge. So how do you get their personality incorporated into the design or the event?
Oh, that's my primary job. I never want a client's house to not look like them or to not represent them. And I never want a party to feel like they just hired someone and the caterer dropped the square glass, floral arrangements down perfectly centered down the table. That's my job, to sort of translate what they love and what their goal is into an environment. And that little environment could be a living room, or that environment could be a party. So that is a huge priority. And the way that I do it is asking them, how do you want to feel when you're in this room? And if they are hosting a party, it's not so much about how they want to feel, but how they want their guests to feel.
Great question. So it's very hospitality centric.
For a party, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What have you found are like the blends of the overlaps between entertaining and design? Where does that start for you? In the inner workings of Rebecca's mind, like what's the center point that you work from?
Like for entertaining at home, designing a home that is built for entertaining?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, primarily function. And how do you like to entertain? Do you like to have people over by the pool because you have young kids, or do you usually have a seated dinner with a caterer? Is your house already an open floor plan, which I do not like, but a lot of people really, really do, especially people that have young children. They like people hanging over the counter. I don't like open floor plans because I don't like my guests that are coming for dinner to see what goes on behind the scenes. I just want them to see the magic. I don't like people helping me in the kitchen. I would much rather them be charming and carry on conversation. So what does my client feel comfortable providing or contributing as far as being a host? Because in this day and age, you can't do it all, and you don't have to. I have a whole chapter in my book actually that's titled "You Don't Have to Make It to Make It Happen." So it's all about what my client likes to do, and if they like to cook, well, hell, they have to have an open floor plan if that's what brings them joy, to have people in there tasting out of their stovetop. That's my worst nightmare. But I'm not designing for myself all the time. So how do they entertain? What is the size of their family? What are the ages, and what makes them feel most comfortable at home? And then to me, entertaining, especially because most of the time you're doing that, it's in the evening after work. Mm-hmm. I think it's all about lighting.
Mm-hmm. Lighting is, I think you said it in the opening, how to make that flattering and super, super important. So it's funny, you just said that your worst nightmare would be people tasting, but you also love to cook. So
I do, but I like that to be my private. Diana Ross, Paul Simon, and I are in the kitchen. I don't want anyone else in the kitchen with me.
So, segueing to the show house, you did the scullery, which was just probably maybe the most memorable moment.
Because I'm so glad you liked it. It was kind of weird, Andrew. So that's good.
But it was whimsical and it was memorable. So, with your passion for food and like, walk us through how you created that, because it really was incredibly memorable. And that house had the benefit, as we were sharing earlier before the conversation, of just a lot of space. But that was so cool and so imaginative. And with your connection to food, walk me through what your idea was for that, and how you did that, and then the execution was just spectacular.
Well, Margot Shaw, who's the editor-in-chief of Flower Magazine, called me and said, I have the perfect room for you to design. I said, okay, Margot, what is it? And she said, it's the scullery. And I thought, oh, hell, there's no designing in the scullery. You have paint color on the cabinets and, whatever, which was funny. But it ended up being the perfect room for us. We didn't have furniture to pick out. We didn't have rugs to pick out. It's a functional space. And so you wouldn't think that would be something that would excite me, but because it was a functional space, we were able to dream bizarrely. There were no confines of any sort of furnishings. Like, it already had a beautiful hood. It already had gorgeous wood floors, which I understand you put in there. It had an existing fireplace. The cabinetry was already designed. We did pick out sort of an appropriate Benjamin Moore color that felt soft and receded. And then I had gone to Brighton Pavilion a couple of years ago, which is in Brighton, England. And it was an incredible folly that was built for the king, just for entertaining, and just absolutely fantastical layer upon layer of architectural and interior detail. And the way that they showed the kitchen, which was very grand, like imagine Downton Abbey, like
my dream kitchen.
10.
Yeah. Wow.
Fabulous tile and big butcher blocks and huge copper sinks and pots hanging everywhere. But they showed what this big space looked like when they were preparing for the king's arrival, with all of his entourage. And so there's stacks of vegetables, and the cook is, sort of flustered, and the steam is in his pink, rosy cheeks, and there's swans waddling across the floor, getting ready to have their heads chopped off and made into like a great gelatin. So we made this sort of cacophony of action in an otherwise functional space. And we used an incredible milliner. His name is Mayor Zebar, that works for us and makes insane party hats for my online shop, which is also houses and parties. And we had him make vegetables with Duchess satin and silk du peony. So the corn had little pearls, instead of corn kernels, and the pomegranates had Swarovski crystals. And then we took stiff mice and perched them inside all of the vegetables just for your delight. We had giant French baskets full of big frogs, as if they were to be, plopped into a boiling stew. And then my uncle is a antiques dealer in Houston, Texas. His shop is called Rebecca Gardner, and he sells all sorts of actually really important continental furniture. And he happened to have a huge copper and marble scale that was of the same time period, like gigantic. You would put, I can't even imagine, a giant turkey in it. And then he had all these amazing Swedish baskets that were giant. And so we were able to put big baguettes shooting out of them, oysters, big tins of caviar. And then in the adjacent, I guess you would call it the butler's pantry, but not really, because it's adjacent to the scullery and not the dining room. I mean, this house was so grand. I don't know that I have all the correct architectural terms, but we stocked that as if the houseman or I guess it would be the houseman would go in there to have a secret cig and make his notes and polish his shoes. And we had cotton organdy aprons and sad little clunky lace-up Oxford shoes, for the ladies to wear, and server jackets. And that was sort of their respite before moving through the scullery and then up to the dining room.
Well,
I'm almost out of breath. That was like a monologue.
But here is the coolest thing, is that space created so much joy for people touring that.
Good.
But clearly it created so much joy for you to be able to design it.
Sure.
And I'm not sure that I've ever spoken with anybody else that could have pulled off what you just described. Like, but it was so cool. It was almost like a movie set, as you described. It did feel like Downton Abbey meets Ratatouille. I mean, it was just absolutely exceptional and memorable. And I think that's what's something else neat that we talked about in the opening, or one of your part of your ethos is designing for memory, not photography, and that felt like something that was incredibly memorable.
Did you come up with that? Or did you read that somewhere? It's so good. I didn't come up with that.
Well, that's our show is just world class. So, but I mean, really, it was designed for memory. It was experiential, and that for me and what we do, we believe that everything is moving more towards experience, because that's just what it's about. It's about the sight, the smell. It's about the senses as much as anything else, because we can see all of this information. So when you bring these additional senses into it, it makes it special and memorable. So I think that your approach is really just so unique and fun. Like there's a whimsicalness to it that's really unique. So how long did it take you to, again, it's kind of funny, you probably heard, the scullery, great, but how long did it take you to walk me through the process of what it was like to do a show house? So I'm assuming you had to do an initial site visit. you had this beautiful, I think Francois and Company did the hood, and Artistic Tile did some beautiful stuff. And, you had some bones to it.
And Bavolo, the fabulous New Orleans lighting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was really great. So you do a site visit, but walk me through, like, how does that expand?
Well, I just thought a scullery needed to have action. And we had that gigantic kitchen island, which was so big. I mean, I can't even imagine what you would have to bring to style something like that. We had to have lots of scale to make a statement. And so the most logical way to have lots of scale in a scullery would be produce.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, I mean, seriously. And
we wanted to show action.
Wanted to show action. What a cool, like, I mean, seriously, what a cool perspective. What an absolutely cool perspective. And the scale was amazing. I'm talking about the physical scale, the weights and measure that was in there. Like, that was one of the coolest things. So your uncle, share a little bit more about, did he get to come and tour and see the space?
No, I begged him, but I've learned so much from him. He is an antiques dealer in Houston. His shop is called Rebecca Gardner. I think I already said that, but I have traveled really all over Europe with him and learned so much about furniture and time periods. And he is from age 4 to 44, the person that I go to with a design dilemma or even just the beginning of a project. He has the most obscure creative references. He knows all the right vocabulary words. He's truly the most creative person that I've ever met. And he has a wicked sense of humor. One of my favorite stories about my Uncle Bill was in Easter when I was probably, Andrew, 10, no more than 10. And all that I wanted was a pet rabbit, which, I mean, you can imagine,
Yes.
So gross. And I wanted it to sort of jump around the house, free reign. And my mother didn't even entertain it. We had like a dog. My dad had a dog that was like a bird dog, that I only saw like once, no pets. And so my Uncle Bill waited until Easter, and we came home from church, and lo and behold, there was a gigantic, almost like a dog kennel, but it was made out of chicken wire. So hand wrought, all spray painted bubblegum pink. Oh. With a giant French wired ribbon. That's what gave it away, is that the ribbon was too fine to have come from anybody else in Corpus Christi, Texas. And I mean, the wire was like worth more than, whatever. And it was filled with crinkled Easter grass. And inside was Sadie the bunny.
Oh, wow.
And Sadie the bunny was brought by the Easter bunny on Easter morning. I was thrilled. My parents were furious, which I thought was so disrespectful to the magic of the holiday. And Sadie grew really, really, really fast. And within 3 weeks, Sadie expanded maybe 4 times her original weight. And Sadie gave birth to 10 other little Sadies. So
the gift that keeps on giving.
He was always thrilled to please me and antagonize my parents, which brought for such joy and delight, especially as a teenager. He would give us wads of cash for holidays that came. I don't know how it's always so crispy and ironed. I think when you go to the bank, sometimes you can get newly minted cash, and he would give us inappropriate sums for our age, almost like a Narcos, bit, at Christmas, with no fanfare, no direction. One time I took my brother to Spain, and he gave us both a wad of cash, but we had to prove to him that we only spent it on joy. We had to bring the receipts back. So we couldn't spend it on airfare or, anything that wasn't joyful. So he's really an inspiration and a merrymaker.
That is awesome. And we have something in common. So I had my Uncle Chris, and he was an antiques dealer in Washington, D.C., And same thing, he spoiled us rotten. And it drove my parents crazy.
Yeah.
And he passed away, I think four years ago now, but an amazing person. Same, the wit, the education, but antiques were his absolute love. He was actually like a copywriter for fundraising in the political world, but did antiques on the side and had,
Wow.
a space, and it was really neat. But that's something we have in common, as it sounds like very similar
Well, I'm
uncle,
sure
and
you
they're to be
apply a lot
cherished.
of what he taught you with your flooring and
Absolutely.
patina and excellence and age and
Absolutely. Huge influence. And just style. He was so stylish. And he was a great guy.
Yeah, lucky us.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding at all. So you're a pretty big deal because Rizzoli published you, and that's like, kind of like getting to the mountaintop in our industry. So walk me through that and share a little bit about your book and just how that all came about.
I was so flattered to hear from Rizzoli about doing a book, and I hadn't thought too much about it, but as soon as I dug in, I already had the file folder full of, the photos that I liked. I subconsciously had been planning for this for a while. I didn't want to have a how-to book. That was not attractive to me. I really cared about the photographs, and I've been working with the same photographer like my entire professional career. We were at SCAD together as students. He worked for me at SCAD when I worked there for several years, and like a decade. And then he photographs everything for my events and for my online shop, and also for interiors. He's a fabulous architectural photographer. His name is Adam Kuehl. And I was very, very lucky to have a portfolio of photographs all shot by the same photographer. And that's something that's very rare, unless you're shooting a book. You're shooting images just for a book. Does that make sense? Totally. Rarely in a portfolio.
Well, it's a longevity. I mean, it's a longevity of relationship and history, and
so that was really special to me, and I wanted it to be photography focused, which is why it's separated by essays and doesn't have a bunch of captions. I was thrilled that my client Sofia Coppola wrote the foreword because I admire her so much and I'm inspired so much by her magic. And then I also was so lucky to have Kravet allow me to dig through their archives. So I went up there with Scott Kravet, and the archivist, Lena Forrester, is actually a SCAD graduate and a friend of mine. And the three of us dug through their archives. And, Andrew, I mean, the juicy 4x4 samples from 1945 or from 1960, or whether it be Brunswick and Fee or Lee Joffa or even Donkia, which they own now. I mean, can you imagine the Italian things from the 70s? Really got me going. And so as you flip through the book, you'll see that the graphic design, the backgrounds and borders are vintage, primarily Lee Joffa and Brunswick and Fee fabrics. So even though it's photography driven and I didn't want a bunch of captions, there's a cacophony of pattern and color, which I think makes it fun. I hope makes it fun to look at.
Well, it's had to have been like a real passion project and a walk down memory lane. And the fact that you got to do this with a, somebody that you had worked with for a long time, I mean, that just had to be like really, really special.
It was. I'm so glad you realized that. Totally. And the process, so much of it was like, okay, Adam, I've got the photos printed out. I printed them out on like 9x12. It was so expensive. I could have bought a Kia, every single photograph. And I had just converted my garage into like a giant storage, almost like a giant's butler pantry. So we got painter's tape and taped up every single thing. And Adam spent hours with me going down every single row and deciding which photograph went where, and we should crop this here. And I mean, it was like having Warren Buffett file your personal return, to have his time sort of deciding. And we did that several times, and that was really, really fun. And it was tender to go through years of work together. And I'm so grateful to him. And for anyone who's an interior designer, they should hire Adam Kuhl to do their interiors, because he's a brilliant photographer. I hope I get some sort of commission on that, because I don't want him to be so busy he can't continue to do my parties. But I adore him, and he's a wild talent, and he helped me tremendously. So this is really our book.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. So you had a history all by the same photographer. What did you learn, like, personally, when you took that stroll down memory lane? Like, obviously there's an evolution, but what was the kind of the string that you were able to pull through your body of work? And how did that make you feel in retrospect, looking at that?
I would say that the things that continued really project to project, and the photos that I chose were all within 5 years. And I've been doing this. I mean, I started my own business in 2011, and before that I was doing events. I mean, I did my 7th birthday that was a fashion show, and I was the bride at the end. I've been doing parties for a long time. But I think that the lighting is really, really important. And I'm grateful that a lot of the photographs in the book were taken at night, because an event looks totally different once the sun sets, and lighting looks totally different once the sun sets, as does an interior. A room can look one way when you wake up in the morning, which is absolutely glorious, and a totally different way, when you are watching television at night. So lighting is always something that that stands out. And then I really always strive to create a complete little world. So instead of just thinking of a tablescape, it's like, what's the first thing they smell? What's the first thing they see? What's the first thing that surprises them? I like to have a rhythm in the evening. It's not just about the table. It's about something happening every 30 minutes that keeps the party going, and keeps guests comfortable and keeps their glass full. And then as far as a complete little world, I always think, what's overhead, what's on the floor, what's creating this environment. So we've done parties with fall, garbage bags full of fall leaves that came from upstate New York, dumped on the marble floor of Carnegie Hall. You can imagine the union labor, they love that. Or masses of banana leaves that were built at 30 feet, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, out of crepe paper by this incredible artist, Trish Anderson, who is someone else that I've worked with for a really long time. I like to create an immersive little world.
It sounds to me like if you weren't doing this, the perfect place for you to work would be for Disney. I mean, it really, like seriously, because what you describe it's transportive. And I'm telling you, that's when I was in that scullery. And again, it's just so interesting. That's what I felt like. It had that world. You were just transported. So very, very cool.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice compliment.
I love hearing you talk about it. So passionate. So share with our listeners kind of the relationship between the shop, the book, and the design practice.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, it's my 3-ring circus. And I started doing event and interior design. To me, they're very much the same thing. I think you have the benefit of one night only with an event, but they certainly work together. And then my online shop was something that I've wanted to do for years and years and years. And I hesitated because my event and interior business was growing. And and I knew nothing about retail, much less online retail. But I wanted to share ideas for memorable occasions. And like we talked about earlier, ideas for unnecessaries that create memorable occasions, ideas that make joy. And so my online shop, which is also houses and parties, it's all houses and parties, and it's houses plural. We're an aspirational brand, after all. There are many houses in my mind. But we sell everything, Andrew, from like Hermes china to Puy-Forcat sterling to Saint Louis crystals. So the non-essential essentials. But we also have a whole section called entertainments, which is things that bring joy, things that get people talking, parlor games, engraved place cards that say "Would you rather." We have place cards that you flip over the back and it says, shag, marry, kill, and you have to choose from 3 people, like the Jolly Green Giant, the Brawny Man, or whatever. So things that kind of raise eyebrows. We have a whole section for party hats. We have a whole section called lanyap, which is a Creole word that means little extras. Like in my book, I describe it as if you're at Mardi Gras and you have a bag of fried shrimp, like the lanyap's the little crunchy at the bottom of the bag. It's little extras. So that could be beautiful ceramic insects that we have made south of Paris that can perch, on your flower arrangements or around your table. Or it could be very special, beautiful, individually wrapped candies that can be scattered down the table for dessert. I mean, things like that. Ideas. Yeah. We sell ideas. Yeah. And that is really a lot of fun. The latest thing that we did for spring, summer, were like 26-foot inflatables, including a lion, a zebra, and I can't think of what the last one, an elephant was the last one. So we're always coming up with wild stuff. We had a collection to celebrate plastic surgery, so it was vintage Brunswick, grandmother coverlets that are quilted according to the pattern. So a glazed chintz coverlet for your bed, a 3-cornered pillow, a satin eye mask, and we even had a pearl lanyard for your drains. A nurse's outfit in pink, a laminated breakfast tray, a chintz matching ice pack, whatever you would need when you're having a awesome between Christmas and New Year's.
That is so awesome. Well, one of my very best friends is a facial plastic surgeon. I'm going to have to recommend that he did, because what a great thing. I mean, that makes it fun and it makes it memorable. So you're a dreamer and you make dreams reality. What is your what haven't you done from an entertaining standpoint that you would love to do? Like, what's an event that you would love to put together?
I would love to do a big Indian wedding.
Oh, wow.
With days and days of celebrations and all those incredible flowers and all the amazing dancing. That I think would be, I'd have a lot of learning to do, but I think that would be a really exciting challenge.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I'm trying to think of what else. This was not on my list. There's a famous garden in California called Lotus Land, and I would love to do a party there. It's full of insane succulents, and it's sort of a Jurassic Park sort of vibe. We did do a party was it in the spring? I mean, it all kind of goes together now. We did a party in the spring, I think. So fairly recently at Tony Duquette's Dawn Ridge.
Oh,
that was amazing. Wow. But yeah, I think I'd really like to do a big, wild, beautiful, opulent Indian wedding.
Oh, that would be amazing. It out there. Yeah. Hey, any of our listeners, if you're in the market, let's make that happen. Yeah. I could say let's arrange it, right? Because that's Indian weddings. Yeah. Sure. So the question I have next is, what's the best event that you've been to that you didn't do? One that inspired you and you were like, wow, this is pretty cool.
I have a girlfriend that entertains beautifully. And it is so fun to be her house guest because you immediately feel so welcome. She respects your space and private time. She has 3 absolutely delicious, darling girls, and a charming husband that's fun to be around too. And it's very low pressure, low key. But we plan dinner parties and we cook in the kitchen, and the girls come in from, swim camp or golf or whatever, and we, drink gin too early in the afternoon and sing into the spatulas like microphones, and then quickly run upstairs to pinch our cheeks to, entertain friends that have come over for dinner that evening. And it's all very barefoot and generous, and I know that a lot of work goes into it. The house itself is lovely to be in, and the sofas are all deep and down-filled, and miraculously every time you leave or come back into the room, it's been fluffed again. There are fires in the evening and candles lit when the sun sets. I mean, it is a beautifully run house, but what really makes it a fun party is the people in it.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it's got to be about, right? Is the humanism and creating an environment that allows that to really thrive and be exciting and have that wonder and that memory. Again, it's experience, right? It's the senses, all of the senses being evoked to create a very special environment. But that sounds like the most lovely time.
Yeah.
And I love that your friend has enough confidence to have you over, like the master party person.
I mean, I'm no match. I think that another key is that, the charm and the value and the appreciation for serendipity is paramount, but serendipity is pretty rare. So you have to really, really, really plan like hell to make things feel serendipitous. And I appreciate that. Not everybody does that.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. So
you gotta have your playlist ready and the bar stocked and the lights changed and the door open, and
Yeah, no, it's look, I'm like you. I love entertaining. I absolutely, nothing brings me more joy. But it is an amazing undertaking even to have like 2 couples over for a dinner party. And I mean, the work starts days before, and like you, my wife and I, we love to cook, and we're preparing and this and that, and by the time you realize it's like a full 12-hour day, but planning a couple days before, and it's like, my goodness. But it's all intentionality, right? It's intentionality creates that serendipity. And, having the playlist, but then the backup playlist to see where we're going, and, where the mood changes. So, in summer...
In my book, I call that forced serendipity.
Yes.
Which is sort of an oxymoron. Yeah.
But hey, it works. It's environment. You're creating an environment. And it's a foundation of hospitality to me is anticipation. Like that's what hospitality and luxury like is, anticipation of need. So thinking through if this, then that, and having that covered, is a great way to host and a great way to plan. At least that's, how I try to do it.
You're hired.
Well, so what's next for you? Like what does the long game look like? You have the 3-ring circus. You've obviously got your hands full, but what's on the horizon?
Well, right now we're planning for fall, winter. We have a lot of exciting events that are coming together. But as far as long game, I would really like to do a boutique hotel. I think that would be really, really challenging. I think that it would be really creative, and I would love to micromanage a full experience from what does the handle on the door look like, or what does the man who opens it for you wear? What is the script at the front desk? What drink do they bring you immediately at dinner? How do we avoid wasteful party favors but maintain formality with fun? I mean, I would love to do the interior and the scripting and the restaurant and the music and the lighting. That sounds fun to me.
I'm telling you, we're two peas in a pod, because that's my dream as well.
Really? Good.
I started my career in hospitality, and my dream was, and obviously I didn't go there, but it was a dream then, was to go to UNLV, and I wanted to do hospitality management. And at that point I dreamed of like running a resort like Caesar's Palace, or just because it was so grand and so amazing, and the detail. And, I look at like a guy like Steve Wynn, in, Vegas, people love it, people hate it, but he imagined like all of that. And when you go to that place and it's like, oh my gosh, this all like was created from a vision, and it's excessive and amazing, and it's the unnecessaries like everywhere you turn. And it's so that hospitality element is a dream for me. I really, and again, I really feel like it's where our industry in general has to go, is for people to experience things. It's the 2D photos on Instagram, they're wonderful, that's all fantastic, but it's accessible to everyone. So the next element and the next evolution is going to be creating an experience that can be lived out. It's like, have you been to Blackberry Farm, or
I've not been to Blackberry Farm, but I know it.
Yeah, so like
I've not been to the Wynn.
Oh, well, you've got to go to the Wynn, like both these places, because I'm
kind of scared of Las Vegas. I think I'd love it. I know I love the Sphere. I really wanted to see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. I think I'd really like that, but
you should. I'm
intimidated.
You should go. I've been to the Sphere twice, and it's unbelievable. And Las Vegas you would love it, because it's you on this massive scale, and you can't understand it. Like typically, you look at these big projects, these city block projects, and it's always about where people can cut cost or cut expense, or, let's value engineer this. And, it starts out as this grand vision, and then it's, nice, but, it wasn't the dream. Las Vegas is the only place I've been that it's the opposite of that. Like where they're like, okay, we're going to do that, but how do we make it bigger and more grand and spend more money on it? And it's the unnecessaries. It's like it's crazy. If you're into that, and it's not to go for the gaming and this and that, it's really to like walk into these spaces and be like, no, somebody dreamed of this.
So what do you do if you're not gambling and
eat and go to the spot? Go eat. It has fabulous food, just fabulous. First of all, if you love hospitality, it's one of the few places on earth where it's very competitive to maintain your job, and everybody there works in hospitality. So it's a great level of hospitality. That's one thing that I really enjoy, is you see people that have made this a career, and there's competition for their jobs, and there's no labor shortage. Secondly, the food is great. The sites are great, but the spas are like, 200,000 square foot opulent spas that you can just go spend time. The shows, going to any of the shows at the hotels, so you never have to do the casino, but the casino is a whole nother party and sensory experience that, it's just fun. It's something completely different. The noise, the smell, the no sense of time.
Oh, the smell smell can't be good, Andrew.
Oh no, the smell is great. The smell is great. It's this, faint cigarettes and whatever they're mixed with fresh
dollar bills
oxygen and money, and it's just
Maybe
like
I would like it.
it's yeah. I mean, the drinks are flowing. Oh, the pool scene. The pool scene's great. But yeah, go to the Wynn or just go to the Wynn or the Encore. And it's a lot of fun. But you would love the Sphere. Yeah, it's a neat place to go. But just getting back to experience, I love your idea for the boutique hotel. I think it's something we're seeing in our industry, just more and more of the boutique hospitality aspect in these, just like you said, every element being thought out and intentional and memorable. It's as much as what it looks like is how it makes you feel. And I think that's what, is a really, really special blend of just fun. Like, it's fun for the people that are there working in it. It's fun for the guest. I was just in Madrid last week, and I stayed in this hotel that had been continuously operating since, I think they said 1886. Beautiful, fine hotel. The uniforms that the staff and every staff member had, from housekeeping to the front desk to bell services to the bartenders to the servers, it was so memorable. They were so fine. Like, they were beautifully, they looked all so tailored and perfect and appropriate. And it was like, man, that is just a story. And you felt like, okay, I've gotten off the plane, I've made it to Europe, and now I've been transported, and I'm somewhere very different than home. And like, that's what I felt like you just described with kind of your dream gig.
Yeah. I think that would be fun. I think that would be a good challenge. Yeah,
I think it would be a lot of fun. Then let somebody else run it forever, and just go visit and have a permanent residency that
I don't
you can just go enjoy.
I just want to make it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, well, listen, this has been absolutely fascinating. You are a good time. And I can tell that translates to your work, and I'm so thankful that I've gotten to experience your work firsthand. But it's time for rapid fire. So, one skill you would love to learn?
Play the piano.
Yeah, that's so funny. Again, you and I are like two peas in a pod. I would love to learn to play the piano. The most underrated skill in construction?
Tile.
Yeah, definitely would agree with you there too. That is a one that it takes a lifetime to master. Yeah. And there's a lot of bad tile installers out there. One word that defines good leadership?
Patience.
That's a good one. Are you patient?
Yes.
You are? Good. See,
for a period.
Yeah, see, I am too. As long as I get to define what patient is, then I'm good.
It's something I work on.
Well, there you go. And that's funny that's a great word for a leader. And all of the leaders that I have respect for have been patient people. And I think that's why I admire them. So,
when like my cuticles are bleeding, that I'm really working on being patient.
Well, again, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so thankful that I've been able to spend the time with you today, and I'm very grateful for you giving us the time.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to send you a copy of my book. It's called A Screaming Blast. I
would absolutely adore that and be so thankful for it. So thank you so much. So
nice to meet you. Thank you for having me, and I hope our paths cross again.
Absolutely. What you've built with houses and parties, the spaces, the shop, the book, it all comes from the same place. A belief that design should do something to you, that it should lodge itself somewhere, that the most important thing a room can do isn't impress you, it's stay with you. That is exactly what the long game is about, and you've been playing it longer and better than most. To our listeners, if today's conversation resonated, follow Rebecca Gardner and grab her amazing book, A Screaming Blast, from Rizzoli. You can find Rebecca's work and shop in the show notes. Next week on Couture Construction, we turn the conversation to the trades themselves and ask why depth, nuance, and long-term thinking are competitive advantages in an industry built on craft. We'll be joined by Robert Pelletier, President and CEO of Pacific Hardwood and a fellow podcast house, for a rare dialogue between two operators who believe that slowing down long enough to ask better questions actually sharpens the work. Thanks for listening to Couture Construction. This episode was produced by Cast Collective and Chelsea Rand. Until next time, keep cultivating creativity.